Welcome to Latte with a Lawyer, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the stories of some of America's most successful lawyers, figuring out what makes them tick, how they creatively solve problems, and how others aspiring to be them can follow in their footsteps.
Okay, folks, welcome to another episode of Latte with a Lawyer. I'm your host, Jonathan Brickman. This morning we have Michael Ruppert, and he's with the law firm Galbut Beabeau.
Yeah, hey, how you
Did I
doing,
get it?
Jonathan?
Did I get it?
Got it.
Oh, good. All right, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
It's a good deal. So good to have you. Latte with a Lawyer. What's your morning beverage of choice to get started?
Just plain cup of coffee, a little bit of creamer, nothing special.
Nothing special. No lattes?
No lattes, no. Every now and again an Americano, a little bit of creamer, but that's about it.
All right, good deal. All right, excellent. So listen, tell us what kind of law you practice. What do you do?
Sure. So I'm a commercial litigator. It's a pretty expansive practice, not really any industry in particular. Do a lot of work in the technology space. Financial advisors, get a lot of work with them. Real estate, some entertainment, healthcare providers occasionally, but by and large, it's a general practice
Okay.
that, I really enjoy because of the, vast array of issues that I come across. So constantly learning, constantly getting to meet new people. It's a great way to, come up in the industry for sure.
Oh, good. So give me, just expand on that a little bit. Give me an example of a case, like what you would work on.
Sure. So, some cases could be, we represent you could say dental office or chiropractor's office. They
Yeah.
purchase equipment from vendors. Vendors don't deliver equipment on time or don't deliver equipment at all, for example.
Okay. Yep.
Could also be, an employment issue, right? So it happens from time to time. You get an employee, sometimes they steal money from an office. Small businesses, it could happen, right? So those are typical cases that I see. Other times it could be, partnership disputes, number of partners in a company, some depart on bad terms or, siphon off money from a company. You got to go after them for the entity, right? So typically I'm representing either the entity or a number of the partners in controlling the entity.
Okay. So you're more on the defense side then, right? Would that be true?
Sometimes
Yeah.
I would say it's a healthy mix. Oftentimes I find myself on, starting on the plaintiff side, then you end up with counterclaims or vice versa, right?
Oh, I see.
Starting
Okay.
on the defense side, you have counterclaims. So they're typically very adversarial cases, which, you're not necessarily plaintiff or defendant. Maybe you are labeled that just on paper, but each side has claims very often.
Okay. Okay. Very good. And are these, do you guys bill or do you do contingency work? How do you get paid?
Hourly, yeah, for the
Hourly.
most part, yeah. We've done some contingency work, but by and large, it's on a billable hour.
Okay. So it's a general, and is that the whole firm? General litigation?
No, not necessarily. I'd say, so we have 8 attorneys at our firm. Probably half of us do primarily litigation, but there's also an intellectual property section. So every now and again, we're doing, trademark infringement cases, but also just general corporate work. Typically, I'd say 80% of my day-to-day is doing litigation cases, and then 20% is doing general corporate. The other side of the firm, it's probably inverse. They're doing more general corporate and transaction work. And then, leading up to litigation, then they'll start bringing me in just to kind of see what, the lay of the land is and get things ready.
Got it. You're bringing the big hitter to litigate. Okay.
I don't know about that, but it helps to know what's going on before it hits my desk. So
All
I
right.
do appreciate that. We have a very collaborative environment at the firm, so it helps a long way with providing a good service for clients.
Okay. And where are you all based?
So we're in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Everybody. Scottsdale?
Everybody,
Okay.
whole firm. Yeah, single office, but we work with clients across the country.
Okay.
For the more, general corporate matters, as long as they have business that's coming into the state of Arizona, then we're able to usually assist them. Or if it's, the intellectual property side, then we can, help a wider array of clients.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. Very good. And you said you're from California, right?
Originally, yeah. So
Yeah.
born and raised in the Los Angeles area.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So that's not too far.
No, not too far at all. My family still lives there, so we go back my wife and I, we go back every couple of months. We try to, but lately it's been more, maybe once or twice a year.
Okay. So tell me about how you even got into the practice of law, how that happened.
Sure. So, I like to say life kind of led me to it. You meet a lot of attorneys that, they tell you early on they knew, right? Being a
Yes.
lawyer was for me. I'm not one of those people. So, growing up, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then I went into college wanting to be a physical therapist. So a lot of my earlier academic career was focused on, sciences.
Mm.
And at some point, I lost interest in that. And in college, I was taking kind of the time to explore, right? So I took a couple of different classes and then took a pre-law class, which I really enjoyed. And then did some internships, one at the Arizona Attorney General's office, which really gave me some time to go into the courtroom with attorneys.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that a lot. And so that's kind of when I started thinking, well, maybe there's something there. Maybe, that could be a career for me. And, luckily my family knew some attorneys that I could chat with and kind of shadow, get to understand, what they do day to day, and found it interesting. So, yeah, and the rest was kind of history, right? Apply to law school and then, you're in it. So it's been good though. I really enjoy the career, and no day is the same, which is what I like, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of variability, meeting a lot of interesting people, helping a lot of, interesting people. So there's a lot of good that comes out of it. And, it's not a bad way to, spend your day.
Oh, good. Good. I'm glad you don't look like you're too stressed, so you must be enjoying it.
That's taken a couple of years to really figure out how to compartmentalize the stress.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Excellent. Very good. And this type of law, I mean, is this what you've been doing since you graduated?
No, in part, yes. So when I first came out during law school, a firm different from Galbut Beabeau that I started at, they took me in as an intern, and I was there for about a year, just kind of learning the ropes around there, doing everything: personal injury, estate planning, commercial litigation,
Yeah.
some commercial transactions, a little bit of family law. So got a taste of everything. And that's how the first, I would say, year and a half of my career went, just doing a wide array of things. And the firm was, gracious enough to actually let me kind of pick what I wanted to do, and the commercial litigation really interested me. So, that was, what I focused on primarily after about a year and a half, 2 years. And, it's it was very lucky that way, because not every attorney really gets to start their career with getting to explore different areas of law and, focusing on what they want to focus on.
Yeah. I mean, you got yourself like an internship within a law firm, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I graduated from Arizona State, and that program that they had there brought in, law firms while you're in school, as
Mm.
opposed to just a summer gig, right? Summer
Oh,
associateship is
nice.
we
Yeah.
call it. So during the school year, I got to, work at this firm and also get some credit. So it takes a little bit of the burden off of, your course load too.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I ask that question a lot. Like, do you wish the third year was more of an internship, like in the field, actually working, as
Yeah.
opposed to the pure academic? So it sounds like you got that.
Yeah, exactly. It was last year of law school, got a good mix of it. So still had classes that I was taking, but I was at the firm 3, 4 days a week for at least half the day, some days a full day.
Oh,
So
nice.
really kind of got, my feet wet doing that, and getting to, it's a great way to also just meet other attorneys. You don't necessarily end up working at the firm you work at in law school. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. For me, it just happened to end up working out that way. But it's a good way to also, have a low investment in a firm and figure out if you're a good fit there too.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. I mean, Arizona State's always had a reputation for being innovative. And
Thank you.
it sounds like an innovative program at the law school. I haven't heard many others that do that, have
Yeah,
that kind of
neither
program.
have I. I know a lot of people end up, not with the help of the law school at least. And it's a
Yeah,
little bit different in the sense that you get credit also.
yeah,
So, that's a little inventive of them for being able to push that and really help students get
yeah.
some practical experience besides just the clinics and, summer internship.
Right. So you were a big proponent of Arizona State Law School.
The law school, 100%. Yeah, I
Yeah,
went to University of Arizona for undergrad,
yeah.
so it's hard to have those dueling interests,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. So how do you work with that? That's a real conflict, right?
Yeah, so as long as they're not playing each other at any major sporting event, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Wait. University of Arizona is probably better, has better sports programs, right?
It varies quite a bit. Some years it's been U of A has been pretty dominant. Basketball, almost without a question.
Yeah.
I will advocate that till my dying breath. But football, it could go either way.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I don't follow that closely. I've been to both of those schools actually. I was in the higher ed business for a while, and I've traveled to Tucson, all the way up the states of northern Arizona.
Oh yeah,
So,
you've been
oh
across the
yeah,
state
I
then.
have. I've been there. You go from like desert to like, snow.
Yeah,
You
not
know.
many people realize it.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty interesting state actually.
It is.
It really changes. So and you Scottsdale is like a really, nice, clean, sort of manicured kind of place,
Yeah,
right?
100%. I mean, and it's pretty young too. You have a good number of young businesses, but also
Okay.
well-established businesses, young professionals, and then some people that have been here since 70s, 80s, really building, Phoenix in general up.
Yeah.
And, city's really grown and still has a lot of growing to do.
Oh, good. Are people still moving in there, like from the West Coast,
Yeah,
California? Yeah.
not in waves as they were maybe a year or two ago, but they're still trickling in.
Got it. Yeah, people are trying to escape the high taxes, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we
And
got the
just,
snowbirds that, make their annual visit. So right now it's a little bit busier here than it would be during the summer months.
it's busier. Are you a golfer? You play golf there?
No, not at all.
No golf. Wait, I saw you're a runner. You're a runner, right? How do you run in that heat?
Yeah, you get up really early. Yeah, so it's a good habit. It helps with being able to just manage time. So, I get up usually around 5, go for a run, and then get to the office pretty soon after. But it's the only way to escape the heat really during the summer. If you're a runner, you got to either go very early in the morning, super late at night, or you just bear down and go through it.
Oh, I don't think you go through it.
No,
110
not
degrees?
not when it's that hot. No, you can manage maybe 90, trickle
Yeah,
into around 100, but after that, it's game
yeah,
over.
forget it. Oh man. So you think you're set on this type of work that you're doing, or maybe try something else at some point?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm set. I like what I'm doing. I enjoy the litigation practice, but I keep the, caseload of transactional work and general corporate work because I enjoy doing that as
Yeah,
well. I could see a point in time where, I focus more on, help building businesses up than, fighting their fights exclusively. So
yeah.
I like what I'm doing, but I like the mix, and that's why I enjoy what I'm doing because there's variability in it.
Okay. So what's the skill set that you think you have that makes you good at it?
Yeah, I don't think there's any one skill in particular. Yeah, I work hard. That I would say above all else, just being able to, put in the hours and put in the time is probably the biggest asset that I can contribute. But, also just being curious, right? Being able to get new concepts or, learn about something new, whether it's a program that a client developed
Yeah,
that, they think's been ripped off or, there's a copyright issue, whatever the issue may be, just being curious, not judgmental about, what a situation may be, but just genuinely curious and wanting to understand what's going on, what are the issues at play, and what are the facts.
mm,
So I'd say curiosity is also a big skill set, but I also enjoy meeting people, which I think helps with the transactional side, just being able to talk with people, understand their story, understand what they got going on, and trying to figure out ways to, whether it's you need to assert a lawsuit or you want to just build up a business, what's the best way to go about it and how can I help?
yeah. Cool. Uh, do you get into the courtroom and what you're doing? Bench trials? What do you?
Yeah, so bench trials are primarily what they're geared towards. Arbitration quite a bit, especially with
Okay.
the matters coming out of contract. But there's, I would say a huge tick down in trials just in general. I've had a
Yeah.
lot of cases that just settle, very close to trial. Arizona, we do a good job of, ensuring parties mediate cases. So
Okay.
that's usually a typical off ramp in a lot of the cases.
Okay.
Early on in my career, I got to participate in a jury trial, which not too common in my space, but
Hmm.
happened from time to time. And, for clients, they don't particularly like them. They're expensive, but for attorneys, it's hard to get that experience. So you got to take it when it comes.
Right.
Bench trials, those are a little bit more frequent if you can get parties to agree on them. But again, trial itself, not as common. I would say the majority of how I get in the courtroom is on motion practice.
Explain that.
Yeah, so discovery dispute or motions for summary judgment, motions to dismiss. So throughout the litigation,
Yeah.
there's opportunities you come in front of the judge with an issue, and that's typically how I'm getting in the courtroom or virtual courtroom as they're becoming more frequently to be virtual appearances.
Oh, no kidding. That stuff is virtual too, through
A
Zoom?
lot of it. A
Really?
lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I prefer in person, especially if it's an evidentiary hearing. Every now and again, you'll get an evidentiary hearing for, order to show cause or some other type of motion work that you're doing where you have to present evidence and put a witness on for the judge to consider that evidence and make a ruling. Those I prefer them to be in person when they can be. For state court, they often are virtual, but
Mm.
you can always get them to be in person if, everyone agrees and the judge is on board.
Okay. So COVID changed. I mean, you would always go in person. Now it's like it's shifted, right?
Huge
Yeah.
shift, which, my career started, a little before COVID. So, I got that experience of being in court in person, but, it's not too foreign to me to also be doing this on a computer. So it's a good skill set to have, being comfortable both ways, but
Yeah.
being in person is more preferable, I find.
Yeah. What other ways have you guys applied technology from COVID? A lot of people made big shifts, right, in their practice.
Yeah, some people made big shifts. I think I've made, smaller incremental shifts. I find technology to be extremely important with, building up cases or just managing information. But,
Yeah.
I think there's been a good change for the client side, right? The DocuSigns, being able to do a lot of meetings virtually. Zoom probably never would have met with a client via Zoom before COVID, but after I would say that's the majority of my meetings.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like I mean, it's not the same, but it's about as good, close you can get, right?
It's as close as you can get. That's how you and I are talking right now.
It's funny, before when people would have video conferencing or conversing, nobody would ever turn the camera on, right? Did you remember? I don't know if you remember those
Yeah, I
days.
do.
And now
Cameras off.
it's the norm now, right? People are, and it's funny, I have some calls where people don't turn the camera on. It's like, could you turn the camera on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just expect that now. So that I think that's kind of a change for the good, right?
I totally agree. I totally
Yeah.
agree. Being able to just see someone's face when you're talking with them really helps with, just navigating a conversation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you were in front of a jury, that is the skill set, right? You got to pick up on all the visual cues and
100%.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
100%. Yeah, there's a
So
lot that you have to be able to see in person that you just can't catch, on a video, even on a video camera. If you got, 12 people that you're trying to watch, it's hard.
it is definitely hard. Yeah, yeah. So any influencers that you sort of look to or mentors in what you're doing that you've leaned on?
Yeah, so influencers, I mean, there's probably a couple, there's a lot of people online, right? It's hard to navigate a
Okay.
lot of the voices, but
Yeah.
there's a good local retired judge who goes by the name James Smith, and he puts out a lot of good content, mostly, pushing orders or other reminders of, hey, this issue of law came up in, XYZ case. It's not something that we always see, but it's a good reminder when you're prepping your case. This is an issue to look out for. Or, just rules of evidence, things that you can easily forget if you're not, reviewing them or going over them or running into them too frequently. So he's one. He's local in Arizona. Really enjoy his content. Robert Simon, believe he's an attorney in California. I think
We
he's a pretty
know.
popular one.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So he's a good follow, right? He's got some entertainment value, but also some helpful information. Frank Ramos and Darren Heitner. Those are some guys that put out good information. Frank puts out a lot of good information from a practical sense, right? Navigating a career, making career decisions. Really enjoy his content. I believe he's in Florida, Miami in particular.
Okay.
And Darren Heitner does a lot of, sports law. I believe he's been focusing a lot on the NIL issues, puts out a lot of interesting content. I don't do a lot in the sports space, have before, but it's not a primary area that really focus in. But
Yeah.
he will bring up a lot of interesting trademark issues that, clue you in that on issues that you may run into practice areas that are outside of sports, right?
Yeah. Are these guys online? I know Robert Simon's online. I mean, most of these people, I mean, not online, on LinkedIn is what I meant to say. Is that
Yeah,
where
I
you find
believe
them?
all of them are on LinkedIn.
Okay, good. Yeah, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So attorneys really like LinkedIn and use it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know why LinkedIn, but that's, just kind of where a lot of the voices are right now.
Yeah.
Instagram, not as much. Some of the other social platforms, just I think there's maybe too much, not sure, but LinkedIn, great platform. And I think that's usually where I'm finding a lot of good people to, clue in on their voice, and also a good way to just network. I mean, that's what it's intended for, right?
Sure.
But yeah, good way to also just, network around. So yeah, besides them, there's some typical names like Brian Gardner. Enjoy his books, read them, pretty frequently. Have a
Yeah.
couple copies that I keep, just in a desk side table. So crack those open every now and again.
Oh, good. All right, good. You're a student. You're that I listen, I think there's nothing better than sort of, constantly like listening to other people that, have done it. There's just a ton to learn. I mean, I'm a huge LinkedIn fan too. There's just lots of good stuff there. It's just easy to consume it. And you got to keep learning, right?
Always learning. And yeah, I mean, LinkedIn, like you said, it's a great place to consume information. And even if you're, not in total agreement with what's being said, it's okay. Sometimes you get some ideas for a case, even that, an issue that you didn't really think of. Oh, maybe I need to look into that. Or,
Yeah.
something that maybe you're not going to argue, but something that someone else may argue in your case. Like, I haven't thought of that perspective, right? That's why, I like following people that are on plaintiff side and defense side, because they each have maybe different viewpoints in similar
Right.
cases that, it's good to be able to think on both sides of an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you ever get business from LinkedIn?
No, not really.
No? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I'm posting enough for that, but I think that some people do. Not sure how much business, but potentially.
Is that, I mean, if the firm's not against it, I mean, I'm a big advocate of posting good, intelligent content on LinkedIn. It'll be a huge magnet for
For
you.
sure. Do you post on LinkedIn often?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty active on it, with my own sort of personal brand stuff. But if you do it correctly and you have a big network, which you can continue to build,
Sure.
just think about it. You have great distribution
It's true.
and it
A lot
becomes
of people on there.
it's a magnet. It really, I mean, that's what Simon does. That's what a lot of the big influencers do. And, it's super, super helpful. So yeah, I'd recommend it. It's worth it. Even if you just are more of a voyeur and you participate in the conversation, something that
Sure.
you're following and you jump in, that's also really effective too. Because the first thing
Interesting.
they do is they look at you, right? I mean, your profile becomes your landing page.
It's very true. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I don't spend nearly enough time, working up my profile on LinkedIn. It's
you should.
preaching to the choir. I tell myself this every day
Yeah,
of, get on it, but you got a million other things to do.
yeah,
It's a matter of making time though, and you certainly are right. I can tell the attorneys that spend the time and the effort to, and it doesn't seem like it takes too much, right? It's just
Yeah,
setting aside the time to, put out good content on LinkedIn, short posts, long posts, whatever it may be.
yeah, sure, it's better too. Sure, it's better. But anyway, okay, good deal. Um, what else I want to ask you? Is there any, just I always ask this for fun, is there any case that was memorable or interesting that you think would be worth sharing?
Sure. So, yeah, I can think of one. So early on in my career, yeah, I'd been, front facing with some clients, but they're typically, pretty manageable clients in smaller cases. But, um, you know, early on in my career, there was a, larger case relative to what I'd worked on before that came in
Yeah,
the door to the firm I was at. And, the managing partner was assisting on it as well. But man, oh man, the personalities in that case were something that I really hadn't dealt with as an attorney before, and something that just law school can't prepare you for. And, people can tell you, best strategies for dealing with, strong personalities on your side and the other side, but something that you just don't run into maybe often enough to early on in your career to really be able to navigate it.
right.
So, it was an early case and the issues were interesting. It was an employment issue in one sense and a contract issue in another sense but all kind of based in an employment context. It was a financial advisor firm and the there were a couple employees. They left, took a large number of clients with them in breach of their contracts, the way that they went about it. And, it was a hot button issue. And I really hadn't had too much experience with, one, just the personality types that were involved in the case, the other lawyer on the other side, super experienced, very good attorney. And, we had good attorneys on our side that, I was working with as well. But, making my way through that case and, it had complicated jurisdictional issues with arbitration clauses. So part of the case is in arbitration, part of the case is in a state forum. And, it was one of the first cases that I really was able to get my feet wet with and, you know, understand, more than just issues in a case, but also the personalities, right? The people side in the case. This wasn't just, employees that left. This was, you know, dinner on the table for families that were still working at that business. This was, someone's livelihood that they had built up this business and, wrongfully had lost a large number of clients of their
Mm.
own. So it was good experience in the sense that I was able to really help with, getting back what, this person and this business were due and owed.
So what'd you learn from it? What were the big takeaways?
The big takeaways were, and we worked on the case for a number of years. It was be patient.
Oh,
I
oh, it
think,
took years for that to resolve.
yeah, it took years for it to resolve. I mean, the number of discovery issues that came up really, ended up creating, not unnecessary delays, but the timeline of the case being pushed out. It was right around COVID time, so there was a drop dead for, probably a couple of months while everyone was navigating a new situation. And then, there was also just strong personalities in the case can sometimes draw the case out, whether it's, the personalities of the attorneys, personalities of clients involved, personalities of people representing the businesses as far as an entity representative. So, you put all that together, it can draw it out a little bit. But ultimately, we're able to, it was, maybe very close to an arbitration and a trial date, but,
Mm.
it settled on most cases in Arizona, at least, and state court do and eventually settle. But,
Yeah.
it was one that I would have been very happy to try if we were very confident on the issues that we had before us. And, that was probably a big lesson too, is don't let the length of time diminish your confidence in a case or interest in a case, right? It's
Mm.
easy to have a case on your desk for a number of years and, start looking at other cases because the facts front and back of the case you've been working on for a number of years. You know who the players are, you know who the personalities are, and you know the issues. But you got to be able to just bear down and keep pushing through that case and resolve it ultimately in your client's best interest. So patience was a big thing that I learned in that case, but also just navigating personalities and, some of the untaught lessons that you need to learn early in your career.
Good stuff. Yeah. I mean, those are the things you're right. You don't learn reading a case,
Yeah.
right? No.
You read how many cases in law school, but you don't really know those cases the way that you know a case when you're working the case, right? You don't have the client that you're dealing with. You don't have all the expert witnesses that you're dealing with. You just get the high level 30,000-foot view when you're just reading the case summary.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool. All right, good stuff. Listen, I really enjoyed it. Just final thoughts you want to leave with the audience about your firm and the best way to connect.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm not sure if I really mentioned it before, but Galbut Beabeau, essentially a full service law firm, represent a lot of small, medium, and large businesses in the state of Arizona. And, we really do a exceptional job delivering great results for clients. We're highly client focused. Everything we do is to make the client experience as positive as possible. Litigation's not an easy area where you can have a positive experience, right? Just because of the adversarial nature, but we do a really good job of ensuring that our clients' needs are met and, we're meeting them where they are as well, not forcing technology on them if, technology isn't something that you necessarily, want to deal with, right? You want wet signature on paper, you want to come into the office, we accommodate. We're happy to do that. We like meeting with people. We like helping people build their businesses up. We have a great, strong transactional practice at the firm, and we're well established in Arizona, and we've been helping Arizona out for a number of years, and we're looking forward to continuing that work. You can find us online, galbutbeabeau.law or gb.law is the law firm website. Find us on LinkedIn, all the socials. Galbut Beabeau is the name of the firm.
Excellent.
All right.
You're making it easy for me to pronounce it. So in closing, thank you. Michael Ruppert with Galbut Beabeau. See, I got that now.
You got it down.
Excellent. And or GB. It's funny, I see all these law firms like shortening when they got like 5 partners and they just pick the first one. They use the initials, right? Because some of these can get pretty long.
They can, for sure.
And this is sponsored by EmotionTrac, which is a legal tech platform, and we help litigators prepare for mediation trials with our Insights platform. Anyway, thanks a lot, Michael. Sounds like you're off to a good career, and appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, you bet.
Welcome to Latte with a Lawyer, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the stories of some of America's most successful lawyers, figuring out what makes them tick, how they creatively solve problems, and how others aspiring to be them can follow in their footsteps.